Alright, so the Ring magazine are reporting this via Sky Sports. Oleksandr Usyk has revealed that he does plan to retire from boxing, but not right now. It says here he plans to retire from boxing after two more fights. He has welcomed an undisputed heavyweight world title fight against Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker winner as the first of the two. So, yeah. Now, I've already pre-recorded a video on Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker and what I feel will happen should Daniel Dubois win. And I say should because, it's not a formality. But, yeah, pretty much like it's going to be based around him versus Oleksandr Usyk, you would imagine. Because Oleksandr Usyk, I don't think if Daniel Dubois wins, of course, I don't think he's best pleased with Daniel Dubois after what Daniel Dubois did in terms of, crashing the post-fight interview he had with Ade after the Tyson Fury rematch. Doesn't seem like Dubois is high on his Christmas card list, to say the least. In terms of Joseph Parker, should he win, throws it up in the air a little bit. But I'm not surprised. I really, truthfully, hand on heart, I really did think after the Tyson Fury fight, going into it, I was saying it, and even after I was saying this is what he should do. I really did think that he would call it quits. I genuinely did. I thought, you know what? The man has literally done it all now. Because it's kind of like, and I've said this in separate videos, it's like you've climbed to the top of the mountain. What's left to do? Because if you think about it like this, you climb to the top of the mountain, what do you do then? Inevitably, you've got to come down. And that is, I think, in the Fury rematch, I felt Usyk looked very good. Like, go back and rewatch it. He looked better in the rematch than he did in the first fight. 100%. In my opinion, he looked way sharper, way better, way more on it. But he's just turned 38 years old. A lot of miles on the clock, and he's at that age. Now, saying that, you say a lot of miles on the clock, you look at someone like Beterbiev, who's kind of, I want to say kind of similar in a sense of Beterbiev is more of a destructive puncher than Oleksandr Usyk, yes. But for the last few years, it's been one fight a year for Usyk, with the exception of last year. It was two fights, a bit like Artur Beterbiev last year. That was the exception. He had two fights. And he's 40 years old. He's had injuries, like Oleksandr Usyk. Usyk's had injuries with his bicep and stuff like that, but he's still top level. So you look at that and you think, okay, well, look, he certainly lives the athlete's life as Artur Beterbiev does. So there's some comparisons there that Beterbiev is older, still operating at the highest level. No sign of a decline. I'm sure there is, but, in terms of, other fighters who are even younger, like Joshua, you can see he's declined. Fury as well, you can see he's declined. Usyk, I think, is still, he's not at his peak. At heavyweight, his peak was the AJ first fight. But judging by how he looked in the Tyson Fury rematch, he's still got plenty of miles left in the tank, definitely. Plenty of miles left in the clock. So if he fights the winner of Dubois or Parker, I would make him favourite. If it's Dubois, you know what, like, stylistically, I look at Parker and I think he might actually be a trickier night's work. Because I've seen Dubois, I think Dubois will be better this time around. But we look at the first fight. It's not like Daniel Dubois was in a fight where it was nip and tuck. The experience played out. Usyk got to him and Daniel Dubois quit. That was it. This was a fight where he was losing soundly. You couldn't give him a round, with the exception of one round where he hit a low blow and Usyk was still recovering it. You literally couldn't give him a round in that fight. So him against Dubois again might be a bit more competitive because Usyk is a bit older and Dubois is, growing a bit in confidence. But, I'm thinking more of the same. I genuinely am. With Parker, yeah, that could be interesting. But again, if Parker wins, there's obviously going to be an immediate rematch with Daniel Dubois, you would assume. The question then is that's one fight. He'll be undisputed again if he wins, two-time heavyweight undisputed champion. Never been done in the four-belt era. Don't recall it being done in the three-belt era either. No, I don't think it was. Holyfield nearly did it in the three-belt era, but he didn't quite against Lennox Lewis in the rematch. He didn't. Who would he do? Who would he fight in the second fight? Atelma? Jayot Bataya? Who would he fight? Because you look and you think, right, well, okay, he fights the winner of Parker versus Dubois, because they would stake their claim, because they would, genuinely they would. Certainly if it was Dubois, he can definitely, and no one, I wouldn't argue with it, I don't think anyone should, if Dubois wins, no question, second best heavyweight in the world. So again, you would sell it as best versus best, first heavyweight in the world, top heavyweight in the world, Oleksandr Usyk versus the second best in Dubois, who comes out on top. Fair enough, easy sell, no problem there. Who do you fight after that? You know, do you fight a contemporary? Do you fight a mandatory? Do you fight a, do you fight a Zhilei Zhang, Ajakabayel winner? Do you fight a Martin Bakole versus FAA Jagba winner? Do you, God forbid, do a trilogy fight with either AJ or Fury? What do you do? So this is the second fight for Oleksandr Usyk that has me more scratching my head. But apparently he's going to carry on boxing. Inevitably, this is going to be his last year, you would think, if he plans on having 2 fights in the calendar year. First one being against Dubois versus Joe Parker winner. The second one, well, answers on a postcard. It could be absolutely anybody. Who would you... I'm not even going to say who would you like it to be in the second fight, presuming he gets by the winner of Parker versus Dubois. Do you agree with this? Do you think this is right or this is wrong? Because it's very seldom in boxing a fighter has the chance to go out on the top of his game, like on the highest of highs. It's very seldom. And as I said at the start of this video, when you climb to the top of the mountain and you've been to the highest peak, the highest mountain, what then do you do? Well, you can take the sights in, I guess, but inevitably you've got to come down. It's inevitable. You can stay up there for a little while. You can take in the sights, someone might knock you off your perch. You can say, no, to hell with that. But inevitably, you have to come down. How will Usyk come down? Will he come down cautiously and, taking no damage and doing it the right way? Or will he come shattering to the ground, shattering back down to earth? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But let's wait and see. He said he has 2 more fights left in him. Let's see who they are. Let's see how he does. Listen, if he brings the performance he gave against Fury in the rematch, I'd still pick him over most. I'd pick him over most. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Good to be home. Good to be home back in good old Dublin. I'm here now for pretty much 2 weeks. Don't worry. At A&G Man, filmed. We did that last night. We've got this week's show and next week's. Next week's is in the bag as well. So have no fear. Me and Ade, we are firing on all cylinders. Do not worry about that. We got it all done last night. Epic time, epic fun, as it always is, filming at A&G Man. I absolutely love that show. Love being part of it. It's crazy, the numbers it's doing. People like Derek Chisora were even sharing that on social media as well. It was crazy. So yeah, we keep the love going with that. I hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. Until next time, which is tomorrow. Peace.